everyone, welcome to Awesome Comics, your one-stop shop for everything comic book entertainment. I am Ayanna Wade, that's right, back in the hot seat. Well, kind of. This week we have two people kind of debating about should Batman kill? I don't know, should he, should he not? Well, before we get into it, I'm gonna ask you to go to our Facebook page, give it a like. We have a couple of exciting things coming up, like, I don't know, some commentary for Snydering. What? You should go check it out. We have a new video exclusive to our Facebook page every Thursday. Let's get into it, guys. Let's introduce these two people that are going to be battling it out to my right. Walter, should Batman kill, should he not? One word answer.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm really excited. I've been preparing for this for a really long time, so I'm really excited to
I
just
see
get
you
into
have
it.
all of your
I have many aids that I will be referencing throughout this debate. Because I'm taking it very seriously, unlike my opponent.
This is like Bush League psych-out stuff, man.
What is it?
You're going to intimidate me?
I just picked this up from Porter and just put this here to psych you out. You're right.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got like my level of going into it when I'm up against Porter, bringing all of my stacks of comics.
Well, I'm not going to shoot Legos at anybody, so I think we're
think
okay.
That's a good thing to do, personally.
That would be a
works
psych-out
for me.
thing.
Yeah. Rob.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Hell yeah.
All right, so should Batman kill, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
I just came to that conclusion right now.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad. I was afraid we had a booking mistake.
Hostile witness.
So I believe that you were of the school of thought that not only should Batman kill,
he doesn't kill enough.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him blow some more shit up. I'm just saying. Like, this needs to happen. And by the way, with all your psych-out stuff, you know what I need?
A Red Bull.
That's it. And a humorous Joker. Was this a bank?
Is that a bank? I think it is.
Donate!
donate.
The
Didn't know the
Kill
Joker
Foundation.
was a charitable person. I was unaware of this.
Oh, I give to all the gift of laughter.
Oh, that's pretty good. All right.
That's not a bad Joker.
So, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's start with Walter. Walter, why shouldn't Batman kill?
All right. I am, of course, of the school of thought that Batman should not kill, capital N-O-T, not kill. So I think that since now everyone's going to say Batman killed in his first appearances in the comic books. That was, 1939, 1940? It was only about a year streak where Bill Finger mostly, and a little bit of Bob Kane, let's be honest, Bill Finger is more of the creator of the ethos of Batman than anything else. And he was trying to embody the pulp figures back then, mostly like the Shadow. The Shadow, badass character, loved the Shadow, but he had no problem mowing people down with guns. And that was kind of one of the inspirations for the initial Batman. So for the first about year or so, Batman killed people and killed them in some gruesome ways. He hung a mental patient outside of the Batplane until he was dead.
Our hero, folks.
Our hero. But the point of this is...
Darkest night gets dark.
Yes, it gets very dark. But the point of all this is that it was only for the first year. If we're going to take into account just the very first incarnations of these characters, then Superman shouldn't fly. Superman should just jump a lot. Or actually, the first interpretation, he'd just be a bad guy, because that's what Superman was at first, the reign of the Superman. Look it up. So I don't think that just because they've killed in the past or did certain things in their early runs, that doesn't mean that that encompasses what we know of the character today. The character today is known for not killing. You know, we go through Batman 89, Batman Returns, where he straps bombs to people and throws them in sewers and blows them up.
So awesome.
See, I know, it could be fun for the moment, but then you start thinking about it, and you still think that Batman is still known for not killing. After all of these visual representations and major motion pictures of him killing, people still know that Batman doesn't kill. That is one of his main core values, and that is a conflict of the character that makes him so much more interesting. If Batman was just going to go out and murder a bunch of people every night, that'd still be fun, of course, but that's not going to be as interesting or as deep or just as interesting of a character as Batman is. The conflict of him going to the line and not crossing it is the whole point of his character.
Looking into the abyss.
Looking into the abyss and it stares back. That's the whole point of Batman. So I'll get into my visual aids later, but that is just my initial opening statement there. Batman should not kill.
All right.
Is that the special edition of Dark Knight? Sorry.
No, it's the widescreen edition.
Ooh.
It's not full screen coming
High
out.
On
class.
DVD.
DVD, digital video disc, baby.
So, yeah. What's Batman's body count, you think, generally speaking, in the comics?
In the comics, are we talking overall run?
I don't know. I'm
That's
just going to say.
probably pretty big.
Probably the. What do you think the villain's body count is?
A lot, yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so how'd that not killing thing work out for Batman? Because I'm just saying, as far as I can tell, in Gotham, like, you've got the quote-unquote the rogues gallery. So you got the Joker, the Penguin, Two-Face, Riddler, Mad Hatter. You're set. This is like a dozen guys that go into Arkham Asylum, which, as far as I can tell, is like a Michael Dukakis revolving door where criminals go in and come out, like that stupid old political commercial. And he's just like, well, I can't kill. I can't kill. Well, if you know for a fact that you're sending them straight into an asylum that not only does not rehabilitate them, but pretty much is either so corrupt or incompetent that they keep getting let out, what are you supposed to do?
You're just supposed to kill them. You're just supposed to shoot them and murder everybody.
Sure, why not?
So a mugger on the street, just kill him. He was a good guy, just stealing maybe for desperation so he can get money to pay off maybe a surgery for his young daughter, perhaps.
Well,
but
he
kill
sh-
that guy.
Well, you know what? He should have thought about that before he decided.
Oh, you're right. You should have thought about that. I mean, I think that's invalid because at any point in any comic book, there is a status quo. So when you're attacking just the status quo, I mean, it wouldn't be interesting if Batman if Joker or whoever is just in Arkham Asylum. Would you like to see just Joker die and we never see Joker again?
Well, that's a very good and valid point. But at some point, you have to address the fact that it's just silly, though, that he's just like, at some
I'm
point.
not talking about being this super realistic thing. I mean, Batman, especially in the Nolan movies, is viewed as more of a realistic character because he doesn't have
Right.
superpowers. But the whole point of a fictional character in a fictional universe is that we can see interesting things happen. So of course we're going to have Joker come out in and out of Arkham Asylum so he could fight Batman. Of course we're going to see Mad Hatter come in and out so he could fight Batman. Batman needs to fight interesting villains. That's how he's endured for so long. And
Well,
it's
and
been
this is part
rebooted
of
so
that.
often. So go ahead.
Well, and this is part of the problem, which is I think the question is phrased wrong, which is should Batman kill versus can Batman kill?
course
Do
he
I
can.
honestly think his default setting should be I'm just going to blow every mother effer's face off whoever I see? No, but I think at some point if you want to address the fact that Batman kills in the comic and he makes a conscious choice to kill, I'm absolutely fine with that. And it seems to be we've seen this shift particularly with the Nolan films, where it's like, oh, if Batman kills somebody, it's like, no, he doesn't do that. And then with the Affleck films, it's all of a sudden, it's just like, well, this is so dark. And I'm like, do you
blow
even
up
Burton
people.
films, bro?
I think he killed more people in BVS than Keaton did. I'm pretty sure. I have to check the kill count.
I'd have to
Well,
check
also like the henchmen versus the villains. So it seems like people are kind of okay with people being paralyzed, killing henchmen, or letting people die on their own and not having to save them versus him going out and consciously killing. Is that where we draw the line?
It's definitely a gray area, especially in we'll talk about Batman Begins.
Accidents
for a
will
second.
happen. I think it's the area that
Right.
Batman
Right.
Sure. In Batman Begins, even when I first saw it, I mean, they were pushing that whole thing, especially in Dark Knight more, was about him not killing. Like, I have one rule. That whole thing. So when he leaves Ra's al Ghul, sorry,
Yeah.
on the train, Liam Neeson there, and says, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you.
Bullshit.
That was definitely a gray
That
area where it's
Right.
like, okay, you're pushing this whole thing, and you're just gonna let him die? I don't know.
No, I'm sorry. Nolan chucked it out the window there.
I don't know, because he kept pushing that in Dark Knight. So it's like, at least they were trying to uphold
Well,
that
see,
fact.
and this is the problem, which is I've never been somebody who's just like obviously the Keaton Batman has no give.
No.
I mean, he just doesn't, and I enjoy that version a lot. And in some ways, I feel that probably meshes with a character who is so messed in the head
Right.
that he's willing to dress up as a bat and fly across the city at night and beat criminals to a pulp.
Right.
But the problem with the Dark Knight version and the Nolan version, the Dark Knight's one of my favorite movies, so. But it does have a few problems, and
Sure.
that's one of them, which is, he's like, well, I have one rule, I never kill. But really, he should state it as, well, I'd rather not kill. But, because that's how it always goes out. I'd rather not, but, I can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, and if something happens, I'm not going to cry over it, because he doesn't cry over it, which bothers me. For all of this talk about, like, never kill, he kills plenty of people in those films, and he doesn't even seem to blink or bat an eye. He's more upset, like, I couldn't save Rachel. But then Harvey Dent at the end, he's just like, I haven't seen Gordon's kid.
That was like a desperation thing. I don't know if he knew that he was going to die from that. That was kind of just like a last-minute thing. So I don't know. That was more.
But again, here's my problem.
Another
with the movie.
gray area.
It's like, and it's a gray area. But for something where he's just like, I never kill. No, the Joker cannot win. No. The movie never addresses that he pretty much just kills Harvey Dent. It doesn't show him later just going like, I can't believe what I did, or I broke my code. He never sits there and really questions breaking
eight years,
the code.
he was like by himself. Of course they addressed that, because in Dark Knight Rises, because of Harvey Dent's death,
he's just like, I gotta let the
whole thing
police take over
surrounding
now.
that was that that whole thing, death of the White Knight of Harvey Dent, and that he takes 8 years off to either recuperate or just forgets or just does not want to be Batman anymore because of that whole situation. So
I don't know if that was because he
that
killed.
was reflections.
If that was because he
of the whole
killed,
situation.
I don't think the movie really addressed it that much. It's just like, yeah, my knees are busted and I'm walking around with a cane.
I like it, and then he's got the little robo-knee thing, and he's can kick through bricks. That's cool. But
okay, let's just be honest.
I'm not a big fan of Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, neither am I. So
we'll agree on that.
But they never address my problem with the no-kill rule. And everybody harps on the no-kill rule. Oh, he never kills. Okay, fine. If you really want it to be that he never kills, that's fine. But then when he does kill, he never really has moments where he questions it that much. I feel like Batman Mask of the Phantasm addressed that issue better than anything else, and he didn't even kill anybody in that movie. But that whole speech Alfred gives at the end, that was one of the most brilliant bits that summed up the no-kill rule. And Alfred says, vengeance blackens the soul, Bruce, and this and that. And it was because he was looking at someone else who went down the dark side, I guess. Mm-hmm. And he's like, wow, but for the grace of God go I. That was one of the few movies where they ever really addressed it.
Sure. I mean, in the movies, yes. But I mean, one of the my visual aids here I'll bring up, since you did first, Batman the Animated Series. I wanted to talk about an episode called His Silicon Soul. Oof. Okay, so this is when Hardak, the supercomputer, awesome, badass, call back to the 1940s computer, creates duplicates of everybody, and one of them is a duplicate of Bruce Wayne / Batman. And we don't get to see that in the first episode it happens in, but I think it was in the next season that we finally saw that Batman come back, and we see him at first, and he thinks he's the real Batman. We think he's the real Batman until we see he's not. He's a robot. And the whole point of Hardak making him is that he replaced Batman, and that would restart Hardak and bring everybody back and take over the world with duplicates, all that whole thing. But the Batman himself is so ingrained, he made him so well that when he accidentally kills Bruce Wayne in the Batcave, he loses his mind. He completely loses his mind. I took a life. He smashes everything and basically saves the day. The robot Batman saves the day because Batman is so ingrained in him that even a robot copy of Batman knows that he doesn't kill. That is a huge point, and they do address it in the animated series a lot, and I think that's a big example of it.
Well, that's great, and as I said, Mask of the Phantasm is great. We're cherry picking the Citizen Kane of Batmans here.
I don't think that's cherry picking. That's the widely regarded, I think you would agree, is the most faithful and the best interpretation of Batman. I don't think that's cherry picking, a show that's been around for a long time.
What I'm trying to say is that is an example where they actually, for one time, did it right.
It's Batman the Animated Series to do everything right.
That's what I'm saying. But okay, but at the same time, though, there are instances in Batman the Animated Series where I'm like, this could have been solved really easily if you just took the douchebag out.
If you just killed him, sure.
Okay, my best example, Daggett. That dude nearly kills his surrogate mother. He's blowing up poor villages, and he creates Clayface. There are so many times I'm like,
Daggett, yeah.
Man, you know what, Batman? You're a millionaire. Can't you just rig something and make this guy disappear? Come on. There's just there are some points where I'm just okay, there's a difference between a petty criminal and a supervillain like Criminal that is just taking out whole masses of people. And I'm not saying that, Batman every time he encounters a mugger should just drop him off a roof like Johnny Cobbs in the beginning of the Burton film. But, at some point I'm just man, isn't there a point where he's just finally, enough is enough?
No, I don't think so. I think that's what makes him relatable is that he can go to that line and not cross it. That's why people like him so much, or one of the reasons why, is that it humanizes him. So we see Batman go up to, like we talked about, stare into the abyss, and see criminals like that, career criminals that just can't get put away, but he will still be out there every time they're out and will put them back because he's Batman. He will do what is necessary to keep himself as much of the human part of him as possible. If he crosses that line, he's not really Batman anymore. He becomes something else. He becomes, I don't know, the Bat, maybe. I don't know. You can make that character. But I mean, it is an interesting question.
The Bat Punisher.
Right, exactly. But if he does cross the line, I mean, that is an interesting question. What if Batman crossed the line? And there are tons of Elseworlds books and stories like that. I mean, ask Frank Miller with his All-Star Batman and Robin run. And that still is an interesting question because what if someone who lived their whole life by this code crosses the line? What happens next? That's definitely an interesting question. But the main continuity Batman would never do that because he is Batman.
Well, and that's a problem with the Nolan films, though, because as we found out, oh, well, nothing happens. He just crosses the line and says, all right, I'm good now. Like with the whole cell phone thing. And I called total BS on that, where it's like, what was the whole point of bringing out like Lucius Fox, like, you can't do this. This is illegal. And he's like,
It was an ethics question.
just this one. Just this one. Just this one. Well, it's ethics invariably leads to everything else that follows. Like you start making, those small choices, and nothing ever came of that.
He made a compromise to take down the Joker, but he still didn't break his rule, which was the whole point. So that's kind of what he had to do. He had to reach outside of the bounds he normally would and still play with that line, but not cross it, not kill the Joker.
And again, we never saw the Joker again after that. Did he just climb
I
up?
know, what happened to that guy?
Did he just climb up to the
was so
top of the
great.
building and just snip the lines like, oops, that's what happened by accident.
Yeah.
I'll teach you to blow up my girlfriend.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, and I will concede one thing about there are always small exceptions to certain rules. So in terms of like interdimensional beings and stuff like Darkseid, in the 2008 Final Crisis storyline, Batman uses a gun to shoot Darkseid. So that was a big moment. He said, I'll make an exception just this once. That's a big moment. And that was earned. I mean, Batman's lived his whole life not killing somebody, and this is Darkseid. This is a new god. This is someone that's going to literally destroy the universe with the anti-life equation. And he shoots him because, and he doesn't even shoot him in the chest, like shoots him in the shoulder, which is kind of a cop-out. But anyway, the whole point of that is that he led up and he died after that. I mean, that led to the return of Bruce Wayne, which is really freaking weird. He was a pirate and all that weird stuff. But the fact of the matter is he shoots Darkseid, which was earned, which made sense, but he wasn't like killing the Joker. He wasn't killing a regular human. This was an interdimensional new god being who was going to destroy the whole universe. So
Okay, what about aliens?
Also, I guess the universe counts more than the criminal now, huh? So what about all the other innocent victims versus one supervillain?
all the innocent victims that we're talking about.
So a supervillain. So
of
basically,
Darkseid you're talking about?
No, I'm just talking about any supervillain. So supervillain breaks out of Arkham, kills a bunch of people. Batman's like, I'm gonna beat you up and throw you right back in Arkham. Not kill him. Supervillain breaks out again, kills a bunch of people. I'm gonna beat you up and throw you back in. Not kill him. The body count keeps rising on the one hand, and this one douchebag still stays alive.
Yes, but the whole point, like I'm talking about here, like that goes back to the whole thing of like putting him back in. We need a status quo, otherwise Batman wouldn't fight other people.
Oh, I
But
agree.
if we're
From a
talking
writer's
about
perspective, that's fine, but it
realistic-
doesn't make any
It's the guy who dresses up as a bat and fights crime. Of course, it doesn't make sense. It's a comic book, Rob. Come on, man. And if you want Batman to just
I
go
thought
out,
it was real.
if you want Batman to just go out and shoot a bunch of people, why don't you just watch this great movie starring Tom Jane? It's a great film. Fantastic. Fantastic. It's
Yeah, dressing him as a bat is weird, right?
yeah, totally weird.
But see, that's what I guess that's also part of my point. Is like we're talking about a nut who dresses up as a bat, and it's okay. He's pretty stable. Like he's not going to kill me. I'm like,
So
I don't
are
know. I
you-
feel like at some point this guy is at least going to snap once and have to deal with that.
Are you saying then that because he already pretty much works outside the law, that he just needs to come up with his own rules and can govern himself?
Oh,
kinda
absolutely.
already does,
There's
though.
always been something kind
Yeah.
of fascist about Batman. Like, and I think Burton sense in it. I think Burton and the recent film, like, take it to the 9th degree, like, to kind of crazy levels. But I mean, I think that's what they're saying is like, yeah, there was something there. This guy operates outside the law. And I have a hard time believing that at not one point he's just like,
Just
maybe I should just
stop doing so. Shh. Just go to sleep.
Like like at one point just quiet.
Shut up, Joker.
Like it's just like okay, we're done. Like you've killed like 1,000 people. Like you know what, we're done.
I'm gonna go back to my question too. Is where do you draw the line then as like? I definitely get your point that like a god just obliterating existences. We know it is really difficult to kind of say like, no, you should have reasoned with him. Like I get that, but like where do you draw the line? Is it humans? Is it henchmen? Henchmen are people too.
Henchmen are people. No, because
aliens. Is he allowed to kill aliens?
So this is what I'm gonna say. So Batman has the power to, power as just a regular human being to take out mostly anyone on Earth. It's a cliche to say at this point, but he's Batman.
Right.
He could do pretty much whatever with enough prep time, as everybody always says.
Yeah.
But just because he has the power over them to probably kill them means that he's not going to because he has that power. If this is someone that is like, this is an alien being that's coming to take over the world and is literally like a doomsday device about to press a button, what's Batman gonna do? He's not a regular human being. You have to like blow him up. What do you have to do to kill this person? That's where the line is like. Okay. I think people would be okay with that.
So
what if it was a regular supervillain?
Supervillains with a genius level IQ or so crazy that they managed to break out of a facility like 1,000 times, not an imminent threat enough for him?
No, because he can. If he wanted to, he could just shoot them. That's the whole point. If it's like some alien being that he can't just shoot and kill or crack their neck or something, if this is something a bigger threat.
Suit.
But then again, that's what the Justice League is for,
Yeah.
where Batman doesn't really have to handle those situations most of the time. So it's
how convenient for me.
exactly.
Superman, just go. Did you take it?
You've killed aliens. Just
Yeah, right.
take care of it.
Yeah,
okay.
Zod's neck. We heard that. That's great. Go ahead.
It's
Handle
like,
it
stop
for me.
bringing that up.
Exactly.
It's really hard for me.
I know. I just wanted to point out a couple other, while we have time to point out these visual aids here. So,
Sure.
For people at home, there's a great story arc by Jeff Loeb, and Jim Lee did the art on it called Batman Hush. If you haven't read that, go and read that. I wish they would turn it into an animated movie because it is one of the best Batman stories I've ever read. And there is a great moment in there where Batman almost kills the Joker, and Commissioner Gordon calls him back from the abyss once again. This time it's not Alfred, it's Commissioner Gordon, but still the reasoning makes sense. He doesn't want to become what he's fighting, and that's what the line is that we're talking about. He's so close to the darkness, but not fully entrenched in it, that he needs sometimes other people to help him stay in the light. So that's a great moment where he does not kill someone he could have easily killed the Joker, and he names all the things that he's done.
Cool.
He talks about
Joker will come back and kill again.
Yeah, right. Just kill him. Right. His life means nothing. So also in kind of a sequel to that called Under the Red Hood, or Under the Hood, the movie is called Under the Red Hood, and you should check that out. This is probably my favorite Batman animated movie.
We've talked about it on the show before.
Yes,
yeah.
we have mentioned it before. Right. But in the book, there's another Joker situation, this time with Jason Todd. Jason Todd's asking Batman why he left Joker alive after he killed him, which is another legitimate question. But Batman's reason in here is, once again, that if he crosses the line, he's not going to come back. If Batman has a little taste of the death, a little taste on the tongue, he's going to kill everybody. Batman will become a danger to himself and the entire Earth. He would be the most dangerous being ever.
Here's my problem with this. Well, he gets a little taste of the death, and next thing you know is that he still beats the living shit out of all these people, and at least in the movies, and in the movies, basically he starts torturing the Joker. He's got the one guy, and this brings up a very good point because. Was it Falcone or one of the mobsters is like, he's holding him up and he's just like, hey man, I know you got rules, you ain't gonna kill me. Is that somewhere?
I wouldn't kill me. I'm Eric Roberts.
Yeah, he's like, all right, drops him, breaks the dude's like ankles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well that worked there because the guy's an obvious coward.
Yeah.
The Joker, let's assume that scene played out a little differently, and the Joker's like, got 7 hours, before they're both gonna blow up. Try to get the information out of me now. how many fingernails and toes do you think the Joker would be missing by the end of it? Like,
He wouldn't even care.
if he's-
That's the thing.
he would
It's
be
like he
enjoying
wouldn't
it.
work
That's-
on Joker.
He
But
lives
that's-
to make Batman cross
That's
the
the
line.
thing. How far are you going to take the, well, I will maim and torture and do whatever I want?
He doesn't like.
You know,
I mean, he
it's-
does beat the crap out of them, but he doesn't like paralyze everybody he fights. you
Not
know what I mean?
everybody, but
Not
Most
everybody.
people. He doesn't. He doesn't.
But
I mean,
he
there's a couple. I'm sure there's a couple instances.
I'm just
but-
saying this is a guy who has a little bit of the taste of the ultra violence all the time.
That's what I'm
And
talking
again,
about.
I know, but again, I'm having a harder time swallowing it. The more we're talking about it, I'm like, really? And he hasn't killed? Like, I think at some point, you know, it might just happen by accident. He's just in the
I'm
middle
sure,
of bloodying
no.
somebody up.
He might beat someone too
swing too
much.
many,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think it's ever happened that way, but there have been accidental Batman kills in the comics and things like that, where it's an accident where he moves out of the way and someone gets hit with something.
And this is the moral quandary I have, which is, well, we're gonna make it so he never kills. He's got to. I never kill. But I don't feel that the morals behind that are really explored quite as much as they could be. Like, particularly in the visual medium of like film and stuff, where it's just always like, well, he's just gonna say I don't kill. But then things happen, he never really has to question them. You know, if you want to say, okay, Batman never kills, that's fine, then you really need to address that way more of like, what happens if he does kill by accident? What happens if somebody pushes him too far?
I
Like,
think
where
that
do we
has
go?
been addressed in most of the stuff I've talked about. So, I mean, if you want to read
I
a
think
comic, Rob, I think.
I think the comics do a better job of it, but
Sure.
I think particularly now
for the mainstream
what
audiences.
people, I think for the mainstream audiences, what they're talking about when Batman doesn't kill is they are going straight back to the Nolan version.
Okay.
Like for a lot of kids that were born 2000, that is their only exposure to
Sure.
Batman. They're like, oh, Batman never kills. I'm like, well, I've seen plenty of Batman killing. And I also don't think that should be that Batman never can kill. I think just like Superman, my issue with Superman killing is not that Superman killed, it's that it was so stupid.
No, the situation surrounding it was so.
You know, I think it's the same with Batman. I think if you explore him killing in a really interesting way, now whether or not the recent film did that, I don't know.
Dark,
but-
you mean BVS?
The BVS.
Oh, he
you
just
know.
mowed down people with
Yeah,
Batplane.
he just was mowing down people. So, but if you want to do it in an interesting way, I can. But there are so many people out there I know who are just like, no, you can't even explore it. I'm like, why not?
No, that's what
Like,
I'm
why
saying.
the
That's
hell
why
not?
flirting with the line is so interesting, and that's why there are tons of Elseworlds tales out there that you can look up that have him crossing line, and then what happens after that. It is a super interesting question.
And I'm all for that. But I know
That
people
would-
are just like, no, I see.
No, I would
not
love to
my
see that.
Batman, not my president, not my Batman.
No, but I think that you can tell those kind of
Hashtag
stories.
not my Batman.
Yeah, hashtag not my Batman. I'm like, well, any of these Batman could be my. I like the Adam West series, so there.
Yeah, well, whatever.
We know you don't.
I'm not a big fan of that. He should just kill people in that one. That'd be fine.
You disappoint me, old chum.
Sometimes you just can't find a place to put them.
Yeah, I've heard that quote so many times. Anyway,
It's usually me.
right. But I forgot where the heck we were at now because we're talking about the Batman '66 series.
Haha, derailed your train.
See,
of-
that's what you did.
that was
what
like
you did.
that was like slam track. buddy.
Humans, no. Aliens, maybe, but someone else should take care of it. Vampires, undead, where we at on that? Probably. And
They're already
then
dead.
gods, yes. So that's where we're at with the Batman killing.
I'm of the more of an existential threat you are to society itself,
Sure.
the more it's on the table. Like,
Right.
you know what? I'm going to consider it. I'm not saying that he should in the sense that, well, my default setting is bang. You know,
Right,
but I
okay.
think he should really
I mean, you like
start
the Burton
considering
movies, so I don't know.
I do like the Burton
I
movies.
do too. I like the Burton.
But I will say this, I am against Batman having guns for the same simple
See-
writer's reason of any story ends instantly when the Joker's like, what are you gonna do, Batman?
Right, exactly.
You know, and to a certain degree, I know where you're coming from. We're like, well, he can't just
Yeah.
kill these people because
Yeah.
then the stories are, but I do think it should be on the table. And it never seems to be on the table for some people. And that's where I'm like, really?
The most interesting stories, like I've talked about, is when it is on. I mean,
the table,
maybe
sure.
people need to be more educated about the things that draw Batman to not killing and show him like right up against the line and not crossing it. I think they'd have a better
Well, that's what I'm saying.
appreciation
A
of it.
lot of people are unaware
Right,
of it.
well, that's what
There's
I'm
a-
saying. Check
Batman
out-
never kills him.
Check
It's
out
like,
the comics,
oh my
check out
God.
some animated
When you brought it
Batman,
up, like,
sure.
I didn't even bring it up because I knew you were going to open with that. Like, everybody said the first comic. And
Seriously,
you know.
everybody's like, I've seen so many freaking comics or comments about that. Good lord. okay, I get it. I've seen those books.
Well, that's why I didn't bring it up. But when people are just like, he never kills ever, and like, there's a
No,
lot of people who
there
are
is times
uneducated
when-
who don't know about Batman's like origin in the
Right.
first year, and I'm like, Exhibit A.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that has to be the default setting because original Batman was like beyond dark noir. I'm just like,
No, he was.
Oh, you are psycho crazy.
Yes.
But I think the way it evolves, you can dip in and out of killing and explore this more. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, he should kill as a default, but so many people are like, well, we shouldn't even explore this. Like, he doesn't kill. Like, he's Superman all of a sudden. I'm like, no, his origins were dark noir, and I think we can explore this, without having to say, oh, well, we'll just make him the Punisher.
Right.
But
I think Batman's moral code, if you're talking about Superman, I think his not killing thing is stronger than Superman's, because Superman always fights otherworldly beings that are more powerful than him because he's not under the yellow sun. and
all
that
alien
stuff.
lives matter.
No, alien lives matter.
Aliens are people too.
Exactly, but there are more opportunities for him to put a hurting on people and probably kill them than there is for Batman. So I just think his moral center that's more tied to who the character is than Superman is. But yeah, Superman, that is a big part of him too. I just think more in Batman, not killing is a bigger part of his character than in Superman. Last thing I wanted to point
Yeah,
out.
we're gonna make our last
Yes.
round of
Last
arguments.
Last
Yes.
suggestion. A series, of course, that a lot of people know about is Batman Beyond. The very first episode is pretty much, I said series, and Siri came out on my phone. Fantastic. The very first episode of Batman Beyond is a great example of why Batman doesn't kill. In the very first episode of Batman Beyond, we see this is like 20 years in the future. So Batman's like in his like late 50s or early 60s at this point, I think. And it shows his last night as Batman. He's wearing the Batman Beyond suit. It's still kind of futuristic, but not all the way as it becomes later. And he has this heart condition. He gets a heart attack in the middle of a fight, in the middle of a hostage situation. And he's about to be killed by this regular henchman guy. And he sees that there's a gun that was dropped over there. And he sees it, and you can see the look on his face just drops. I'm like, I'm going to have to pull a gun on this dude because I'm about to die. So he pulls the gun on him and points it at him. And the guy runs away. And Batman is so disturbed by that episode that happened to him that he stops being Batman. He shuts down the Batcaves. Never again is the big line. And he stops being Batman for like 30 years, I think, or 20 years, something like that. But that event shook him so much that he would rather not be Batman than have to kill somebody. That's a great moment for people to look at. So look at the first episode of Batman Beyond. Look at the whole series. It's a great series. We did a top 10 episodes of that. So go ahead and look at
Again,
that.
I can't argue with that because
That's just another example.
the
I'm saying.
animated series and even the spin-offs like Batman, that's the Citizen Kane of the
Sure.
visual
I mean,
mass of
shouldn't
the
you agree
visual
people
mass.
should see Citizen
like
Kane?
outside
People should
of
see
yeah,
that,
outside
the
of the
ultimate
outside of the
version.
comics, like that is when we talk about the movies and everything. That's the Citizen Kane of it right
Right.
there.
And I do, like I said before, I do like the Burton movies and stuff. I mean, even though he does straight murder people. And he smiles about it, which is
Yeah.
freaking
Oh no!
creepy.
When he straps the bomb to the
Yeah.
guy, that's the greatest Keaton smile
Good
ever. Just
Lord, man.
let's just be honest here. Like, and this is the problem with an argument like this: is it's so huge because it's like, okay, well, do we have to approach this realistically?
Exactly.
Or is it like?
I
is
think
it
we've
the
covered a
comics,
lot of those avenues
Yeah.
now.
For us,
So,
the storytelling.
realistically, I think the Burton film is probably the most realistic, where it's like, guys just messed up. You're running around dressing up as bad. This is what's going to happen. In the comic books, I agree. You can't just go off killing everybody.
Right.
My only argument is should Batman kill? I would say no. That should not be the default setting. Can Batman kill? Absolutely. Are there times where Batman probably should kill because it would make more sense?
I even agree with that.
Absolutely,
There
yeah.
are times when he should kill, but he doesn't. That's what makes him so interesting.
Should we always be boxed in to this scenario where it's like, well, if I see Batman kill ever, screw this thing. Like, no. Like, I like different interpretations of characters.
Yeah,
I felt
totally,
the same way
absolutely.
with Superman with Man of Steel. I didn't hate the concept. I hated the execution.
Right.
So that's where
So
I'm
killing is no killing, but it's more of a guideline.
I'd rather not kill, but something happens. I mean, come on. Oops.
All right, well, you guys made some excellent points, so we'd like to hear from you in the comments down below. Should Batman kill? We know he has, but should he? Also, take a moment from typing that we could have covered this in 5 seconds to go ahead and like our Facebook page. We have some exclusive content there, so thank you for liking that. Thank you for liking this video, and thank you for subscribing subscribing. Walter, where can we find you on the social media?
I'm on Twitter at awesome_Walter. Check me out on there. I talk to you guys about whatever's going on. Talked a lot about Power Rangers recently because the movie's coming out. Been doing a top 5 episodes of that, best and worst, because there are plenty to go on both sides on that. So yeah, come talk to me.
Yeah. All right, Rob, where can we find you?
I am hidden very well on Facebook. But just type
But
Robert
you're
Walker,
there.
you'll see my ugly mug and a blue fedora, and there you go.
Follow
And
you.
I'm not on Twitter, so it's where Donald Trump lives. I don't want to get arrested.
Oh, we just
Fair enough. And as usual, you can find me here on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Snapchat. I'm on all of them. Come and talk to me. I always like having conversations with you guys and seeing what you guys have to say about our episodes. It's really fun. So thanks again for joining us here. That's about it for us. So we'll catch you on Facebook later this week. And from all of us here at Awesome Comics, we'll see you on the next page.
Suck it, Batman! Ah, you wouldn't have to do this if you didn't care.